Hello again, and thank you for joining me for another episode of customer experience. And today the topic is complaints. So, complaints, a lot of times, complaints can be a little bit scary. If you watch the previous video, you will see that I talk about situations where people can easily like dodge someone that's speaking too loudly, or someone that is looks a bit scary, and they assume that a complaint is on its way. But there are pros and there are cons when it comes to complaining. So let's look at the cons. um, of course, I always make notes. So why do customers complain? Customers usually complain because one of the reasons could be long waiting periods. So, I also made a video with regards to communication. If there's a situation where it's a busy environment, what you need to be doing is communicating with that clients, letting them know what the turnaround time is and what to expect when they return to your either office or retail branch space or your shop or whatever the case may be. The um, the more communication you give, relevant communication, the better it's going to be for you and the customer experience. So normally when the customer is waiting too long, they get a bit anxious and they tend to want to complain about the time that they're waiting. But this is mainly when there's a lack of communication. So if nobody is, say for example, the customer has been waiting long in the waiting area and nobody said anything to that customer, and now the customer decides to approach the front desk to sort of raise the issue, and then from there is basically how it can either escalate or it can be resolved there. So now you see the first step wasn't done. The first step would have been someone taking the initiative, going to the customers waiting and explaining the situation, instead of the customer now thinking about the scenario in their minds, getting that anxious feeling and getting ready for a possible conflict situation, which they most likely don't want to do. So now they approach the front desk, and now they already have that energy about them because they've been thinking whether or not they should leave it, or raise the issue, or whatever the case may be, because they might maybe have to go collect their kids at school, or whatever urgent issue they need to do, and they've already waited like most of the time they or lunch break there, so they have a reason to be upset if there was no communication. So now they approach the front desk and they explain to the receptionist what the situation is. They start with how long is this going to take, what's the situation here, you know what I mean. So now everyone else is also listening to what's happening to the situation, and already it feels scary, and already you're trying to figure out how you are not able to assist this customer when you're sitting at your desk. But this is not the way to go. Anyway, so now the receptionist has an opportunity to either resolve it right there, or to make the situation worse. So right then and there is when you need to tell the customer, firstly acknowledge their frustration and apologize that no communication was given to the customer, and explain the situation in the branch in case the customer has never experienced such a situation before. Say that something like, thank you for bringing this to our attention. Apologies that I haven't mentioned, but we are short staffed today, or it is a skeleton staff today, or the average turnaround time in our branch is about 20 minutes for etc. Can we possibly take down your details and give you a call later, or can we reschedule, make an appointment with you, or can I give you another branch that's closest to you, or start giving the customer solutions then and then. Make sure you are polite and decent in the communication. Make sure that you contribute in terms of getting that customer to a calm space. Because what happens in the situation when the customer is not calm and it is a customer facing branch and everyone else is waiting there but maybe never had the guts to complain yet, they're just waiting for someone to do it first, then you will hear more comments. So then more customers will come and join in, and it can escalate to a huge and terrible situation. So what you need to be doing then is, thereafter you handle that situation, is go to the rest of the people and then explain what you were supposed to be doing in the first place, and explain the situation of the branch and also offer possible solutions. Okay, so that is long waiting periods. Then the other reason they complain is not getting any feedback. So, for example, if say a customer urgently needs to get some feedback from you and you haven't provided the customer with feedback, because if you're a consultant, for example, you've got a million other things to do, and you it slipped your mind, you know what I mean. So that is a learning curve for you to make sure that you prioritize such customers, and make sure that you know that you need to give them some feedback, and let them know actually before it gets to the stage where they want you to focus on doing a task for them, and let them know that you might not get back to them today. Expect to receive a message in the next couple of days, or maybe tomorrow, today or tomorrow. Be specific, or get specific with regards to when they can expect feedback. Because the thing is, for example, if the customer is shopping around, if you're in finance and the customer is shopping around for a good deal on a home loan, or they are, maybe they want to purchase a car and they need to seal the deal, or they need to put a deposit down for a place that they need to rent. So time is of the essence. So you can understand why the customer is frustrated if you put yourself in that customer's shoes. So therefore, communication again is so important for you to let the person know just how long it will take you to get back to them. Alternatively, you can ask questions. When you give a good customer experience, you normally create that conversation while the transaction is happening, and then you get to know the customer situation. They will let you know why it is that they need to hear back from you as soon as possible, and so you understand why it is urgent, for example, and why you need to prioritize that customer. If you do miss the deadline, then do apologize to the customer. Say to them, apologies that I did not call you back at 2 o'clock, or I did not reach out to you at so and maybe this time that we discussed, for example. So take the initiative to apologize. It only shows that you are able to take accountability and that you're a responsible person, but you are like you have a lot of things to deal with, but they are priority. That is what you need to make the customer feel like they are priority for you, excuse me. Then the another reason why customers complain is because of disrespect. So, for example, if you are not respecting a customer's personal space, if you, for example, are not speaking to the customer in a decent way, just because you handle a situation a certain way, like for example, maybe you want to bottle things up, and now you want to now it explodes. Now you frustrated because you have so many things that you have to get to, and now the customer is maybe talking slow, or is asking you to do something for them, and now you snap at the customer. So then they will complain, and some people, they don't complain immediately. They will send an email later to your manager, or they will go online to online review sites and then attack your reputation. So if you did that and you catch yourself doing that, then apologize and explain the situation briefly and tell the guest and get back on the right track and make sure you resolve that issue. Um, the Another thing is, another reason why a customer would complain is misunderstanding. So misunderstanding is normally linked to not listening. So if you don't listen to what the customer is there for, um, and you assuming that you know what the customer is about to say, then this can lead to a problem, and this can lead to a big misunderstanding, and then the customer can end up complaining. So if the customer is there because they want a red box, for example, but you, while the customer is explaining to you, you were rushed thinking of 100,000 other things, and you assuming that you know what the customer is going to say, and now you deliver them a blue box. So then the customer didn't get what they expected, considering the turnaround time it took for you to get to the end result, and it just ended up being the wrong thing. So the customer has the right to complain. I mean, wouldn't you complain if you were the customer? So this is your opportunity to then communicate what went wrong, and also to get some learnings with regards to what went wrong in that situation. And next time you can apply your skills to resolve the situation. So when it comes to pros, based on everything I've mentioned now, in the life cycle of a customer, or the more customers you assist in your lifetime, you will learn based on the experience. That is the right thing to do. So if you did something wrong, it's okay. You ended up apologizing, but one thing you took away from there is learning. So you learned what it was that wasn't the right thing, so you then strategize as to how you can better approach it next time. If you need some help, approach a manager, and the manager can maybe coach you and your team, or give you a one-on-one session and help you better communicate to the customer next time. But make sure that you don't repeat that mistake again. If it is possible. So a pro about these things is, one of the pros are, you now have applied a new strategy. When you see a customer or that same situation happens, it sort of rings the bell in your mind that you've been through this before. You've experienced this, you've learned from a mistake in the past, and now you want to excel at giving that customer a good experience. And so now you become a pro in the situation, and guess what? Now there's an opportunity to train other people and to show them what you've learned. Let them know what the mistake was that you did in the past, and how you recovered from that, and what they can do to resolve it. Also ask for suggestions, because you might learn something new from your team. But can you see, and now you're moving into a leadership kind of position, because you were courageous enough to take accountability. Another pro would be creating retention and loyalty. So, for example, if you are, so now this complaint was, it was like a hectic one. You maybe ended up crying. It was just like not what you expected. Maybe you had a lack of knowledge at the time, but it was a bad experience. You remember it, the customer remembers it, trust me. So anyway, now next time what happens in this situation is, you now apply that skill and your learnings to the new situation, but now you have a better opportunity to create retention and customer loyalty. So now, because you have that skill and the learnings, you're now going to go the extra mile and make sure you retain this customer. And you can actually turn that frown upside down, if that makes sense. So you take a customer that was frustrated, and you do the most you can do to sort of retain that customer. And then if the customer is happy, or you over exceeded with regards to this customer complaint, you gave them the proper communication, you told them the turnaround time of the complaint, when they will receive the necessary feedback. You stayed in contact with them, and you delivered on their expectations. And then thereafter you can ask the customer for a customer review, and they will be more than happy to give you a customer review if you handle it properly. If it doesn't happen immediately, it's okay. Therefore, in a customer facing environment, there's always more opportunity. And if you are in a busy environment, you're going to consistently see customers, and you're most likely going to have the same situation. And so you're going to have a better opportunity to retain more customers. I'm going to make a video on what it means to, or the benefits of retaining your customers. So this is such a good thing about complaints. If you are able to achieve that from someone that was unhappy with your brand or the company you work for, and you are able to be that brand ambassador and sort of like give a good perception of your business, and make sure play some sort of role in keeping the doors open for your company, then well done to you. That is top class customer service and skill, and you should utilize that the next time you have an interview elsewhere. It's a possible question you might have, because when you go for interviews, people like to know how you handle a situation like an irate customer or customer that complained. What is your process? So the more experience you get in this, the more you will be able to come up with different examples, and you are able to convince the people who's interviewing with factual information, how you actively change someone from an angry customer into a loyal customer. That customer, also another pro is referrals. If you're working in a sales environment, then most likely you're going to get more referrals from that person. You're now going to become memorable for that person if you created a loyal customer. That person is going to go tell the people in their house about the situation. They're going to tell someone they know that also has a product at your company, if it's a service environment, or if they maybe it's a neighbor and they're shopping at the local grocery store. They also going to start talking about that to the people in their house, or to their friends and their family. And so you are able to get more higher footfall in your store or in your branch. Whatever it is you're selling, the basics remain the same. So I just made another point when it comes to experience. The more you experience customer complaints and you work through the situation and you don't dodge it, the better it is for you. So every time you hear that loud customer, or you hear something happening that would normally make you run a mile, make sure make sure that you take that leadership and you try and deal with the situation. You might not get it right the first time, and it's okay. Sometimes it will end in tears. Some people, depending on how long the problem has been festering, the worse the response will be from a customer. And so you need to get with the experience part of it. So you are going to have to work through the situations like that. So the more situations you go through, the more experience you have, the more stories it is you tell, success stories you have to tell, the more loyalty you're going to create, the higher the footfall in your office is going to be, or your store, the more products you're going to sell. And that is basically, in a nutshell, the situation regarding complaints. Like I said, the basics remain the same, and the more you experience these things, the better you're going to get at it. And I hope really take the initiative and the leadership in situations where it's complaints, because there's no way that someone can deliberately, they've been watching you from somewhere and they've been like concocting a plan to come ruin your day. That's just not reality. So, if there is someone complaining, it is a genuine concern. It's coming from somewhere. They're really unhappy with the service they received. They want to feel like they've been heard. They want to feel like the problem, that you're willing to put in the effort to resolve their problem, that you value them as a customer, and you are able to do that as a professional. So think back, if it helps, to why someone hired you or why they trusted you to be the right person for the job. Remember that situation when you got the job, and how it made you feel, and then just remember that without any customers, you have no business, no job. So it is your duty to resolve that situation. So you can either be glad about it, or it can be a bad situation for you and everyone else walking through that door. So all the best with your customer journey. Let me know how you deal with complaints, if there's something I haven't mentioned, or you can ask any questions as well, and I will share my experience with regards to my knowledge. So I created this for shop property marketing and Pound My Design. If you would like to earn some commission or look at some job opportunities to earn some money on the side, reach out to me, and or you can Google Brands by Andrea, Solo to Brands by Andrea on Google, and you can browse through my websites. And if there's something you like and something that you think you can sell, let me know, and we can talk further with regards to opportunities. Um, Thank you. I would like to hear from you.